Are we live?
Yes.
Great. New book alert. Fresh out the blah, blah, blah. Literally, we just got it today from UPS. Here's a bunch of boxes. I've been sealing a bunch right here. Now, 2 books written by me on riseofthemoors.org. This is the first one. Are you confused about law? This is the newest one, the heat. It's called Moorish Dominions. Well, it says Africa, Moorish Dominions, a guide to reparations. And then you got Allah written in Arabic. And then this Latin phrase, meaning right to inherit and right to be restored to the status as if you never lost it. And then it says, from black to Moorish, the reversion of a lost estate and a conflict that cannot be told in words. A small treatise dedicated to giving all those curious Africans who may be unaware of their true identity a sense of ownership and notice of their heirship to their vast estate, prepared by yours truly. I'm going to the table of contents. Table of contents. Oh, look. As soon as you open it, gotta put woman first. And then I define what these 2 Latin phrases are right in the beginning. So, jus heritis means the right of inheritance. Jus postulimity is the right of postulimity. The right or claim of a person who has been restored to the possession of a thing or to a former condition to be considered as though he had never been deprived of it. So we already know that we ruled the planet, right? We already knew we ruled the planet from Egypt. So gaining this knowledge is jus postulimity. We're being back, or we're going back to that mindset of we actually run the planet. So that's why I put what I put. So now, content.
What shall we call him? Vanished civilizations, oral statement and prophecies, the capital empire, Mississippian culture, America is Africa. Why are we suffering? The sellout joint memorandum of understanding of 1978. Who are the rightful heirs to America? Theocratic constitutional monarch. Basic grammar lesson. Chess, the game of Moors. Constitutional law, and then he goes into the Moorish treaties. American Constitution, Treaty with Algiers, and the Treaty with Tripoli.
So let's just flip through a little bit, right? In the beginning,
there was the word.
In the beginning, first there was the word, and then there were images. So I basically put the definition of black and blackamoor. Yeah, so we can show. Are we on the same page? Yeah, that's the different page. No, stay on that page. The definition of Moor, then I put a Moor. So when you're showing your children, you can see, look, a Moor is a dark-skinned person, and they're dark-skinned just like you. All right, so you can show something to your children, like this is what our ancestors look like. They were called Moors. This is what you look like. You're a Moor, right? To show that connection. And then a Berber, dark-skinned, because Moors say the mixed. It says Moor from the Random House Dictionary, a Muslim of the mixed Berber and Arab people inhabiting Northwest Africa. And then this is a Berber right here. And then this is a Moor, an Arab. So showing you how they're the same people. And then on this page it says a native of St. Vincent. St. Vincent is an island of the Americas, and they're dark skinned. Then I go into what black is. Black means pale. Then I show you what a pale person looks like, because this is for the children. So it's for adults and children. I go into so much stuff. A lot of stuff that I don't want to say. I go into some of the ancient civilizations, like the ancient city of Carthage, and I show how, basically, I go talk about these certain kingdoms, and then I talk about the silk trade, basically, when I talk about chess and how it was instituted and spread out through the world via that silk trade. And these are the major commercial points of our ancestors, like Carthage, Mari, Cordoba. Like, those are the major trade posts from, Europe, Africa, all the way into Asia. And it kind of paints that picture for you, so you get a description of what it was like and an image of, so you can imagine the commerce in your mind. You know what I mean? And there's always ports for water, because we were seafaring people. Then there's so much in here, I can't cover everything. Let me show this. Yeah, Pangea. Yeah, I was about to go into that. How Africa is America. And if you flip to the next page, I talk about Pangea from The Geology of Florida by Albert C. Hine, College of Marine Science, University of South Florida. So you cannot say that North America is not Africa because they proved it. And
that Florida has
via the University of Florida by this guy who did
Florida
research on the tectonic plates. So I'm showing you how earlier it said Moors are Northwest Africans, and now I'm showing you where Northwest Africa is. Right? Boom, boom, boom. Then I go into the description of the Narragansett territory using different maps, and then here's a quote from a book where it talks about the principal tribes were the Massachusetts of the East, the Poconokeets inhabiting the Plymouth Reign, and including amongst their subordinate tribes the Wampanoags, who dealt around Mount Hope Bay. Look how they spelt it. This is straight from the book. Why would Indians call their central office or their headquarters, where they're administering government, Mount Hope Bay, B-E-Y? Then there's a certain Indian chief here who says Canonicus is my great, 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 whatever. Well, if you define Canonicus, it's Latin and it means canon law, meaning one skilled in canon law. That's not even an Indian name. It's a Moorish name. So how your grandfather or chief with a Moorish name when he ain't a Moor? So I go into that. Then I show you how basically the Anunnaki, the Sumerians, the Olmecs, and the Egyptians all wore the fez. So why would all these people be wearing a fez? Then I go into the fact, I talk about how the Indians sold us out, and I go into a document with their signature on it, where, as an example, and this is straight from Secretary of State, the Attorney General at the time, where the Narragansett tribe of Indians is a Rhode Island corporation, meaning they're not a tribe of Indians, and their tribal leader signed it. So that goes into more of how they're actually selling us out. You know what I'm saying? Heat. Heat. Then I go into an example of a mortgage discharge when I talk about who are the rightful heirs, right? So if black means pale and American is one of the various copper tone natives, are these people Americans? No, they're not. So they can't be heirs to America. So if they're not heirs, how come they're discharging mortgages? Because we don't. So they're able to do it. And I go into an example of what that looks like. What else? Oh, then I go into some congressional records, some newspapers, talking about the adjournment of Congress, the coup, and then I go into how the Prophet established a constitutional monarch, because there's a lot of people saying that the Moorish Science Temple isn't a constitutional monarch, even though the Prophet was the monarch, and he said enforce the Constitution, and he wrote a Constitution and bylaws, and he said he's straight from Allah, which is theocratic. So he reestablished a theocratic constitutional monarch for the Moors here. And then I go into this newspaper article with the Conference of Algiers, where it talks about the treaty from the Library of Congress, etc., etc., etc. More newspapers. Then I go into how, like in Cuba, they have the Phrygian cap, which Phrygia is the old name for modern-day Turkey, aka a Moorish fez. Bolivia has the same thing. El Salvador has the same thing. Like 3 city-states within Brazil, they all have the Phrygian cap on their coat of arms, which is their insignia of honor. Which again, when you read chapter 45, where the Prophet said the South Americans, the Cubans, the Colombians, the Chileans, the Nicaraguans, all of those are Muslims. All of them have the Moorish fez in their coat of arms. So again, that tells you that we're all the same people, and we ain't no damn Indians. Then I go into basic grammar for children and some adults. I basically explain how the word grammar means glyph, which is comedic science, etc., 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 etc. Then this one's called the Moorish Committee on Reparations. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Then I go into some heat in regards to that with the UN and stuff and such and such. Get the book to know more. This is a good one. This is the United Nations resolution adopted by the General Assembly, basic principles and guidelines on the right to remedy and reparations for victims of gross violations of international human rights laws and serious violations of international humanitarian laws. You might want to get this book. You might want to get
Somebody said they just scooped 3 copies.
Hey! Appreciate the love. Peace. Appreciate it.
It's fire.
Also, in the end of the book, a lot of our people, you know, Europeans always cutting programs from our schools like music and chess club and all that kind of stuff. So I talked about chess and how the Moors created chess in Egypt. And I have pictures and
just look at the colors.
I talk about and I talk about the silk trade, the Silk Road, says it right there, and some history into Persia and all that kind of stuff. Then I show you how to play chess. I put the rules in and the points and blah blah blah. And then Moors in Spain playing chess. The Persians.
Oh, I forgot you added this in there.
The Egyptians playing chess.
He
Oh.
added in how to play chess. And
Yeah, I just said that.
Tyreek is on. He said, "Is it on the site yet?"
Yes, it is.
It's right here.
And, here's an image of the Moors in Egypt. So all these black people saying they're Kemetic. These are Moors in Egypt playing chess. Egypt. What they got on? A turban. What's that red thing? A fez. Then the Algerians playing chess. These are all images of these people from these different regions who look just like you and I with fezzes on. So again, this is to show the children all of these people are related to us. So don't think that we're different, right? And the Europeans mostly show that, you know, the people from Morocco and the people, all these people from these places are lighter skinned. That's to keep us in the mind that they're not connected to us. When we really go to these places, all of them, most of the populace is dark skinned. They're just showing you a little fraction of what the populace is, so we think they're not our people. Oh yeah, then I go into constitutionalism. I explain what res judicata is. I explain what fatwa is. And then I go into the treaties and I have things highlighted. And then I have some annotations. So, like this one right here, Article 17 of the treaty. It says relate this to the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, because you're dealing with how it says the merchants shall not be compelled to buy or sell any kind of goods, but such as they think proper. Then we read Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. It says no obligation shall be placed on contracts, meaning you can't force someone a contract. Just like merchants can buy and sell, that's the same thing. And then the United Nations, Article 20, where it says, you know, no one may be compelled to belong to associate. It's the same thing what our treaty been said. So, you know, we need to get into the mindset that the UN they're not coming up with new advanced laws. We've been doing this. Check the record. Etc. And then I end it with the treaties. That's it. It's a total of 151 pages. And on the last page, it's a message from an Narragansett warrior. I wrote this after a conversation that I had with this woman that she spoke. She was homeless at the time. She spoke to the so-called mayor of Providence, Georgie Lorza, about fixing up abandoned buildings for homeless people. And he said, I was going to insult him, but let's not do that. He said, we can't find the owner, so we can't do anything with it. So in that letter, I was very angry, so I just basically said, we are the Aboriginal Indigenous people. All these dark-skinned people are the owners. They're just taught that they're not, so that people like him can be in that position, be, well, I'm the mayor, and be in a higher status and feel good while all these people are suffering. Instead of just saying, well, you are the owners, but you won't claim your estate. Instead of saying that, he said, well, we can't find the owners, which doesn't help her at all. She's still homeless, but he gets to say, I'm the mayor. What are you doing? So I wrote that letter explaining how most of these so-called Spanish people and black people are Native Americans, but if all those people realize that, then these so-called chiefs claiming to be the chief of something wouldn't have as much control as they do now. Because then it'll be everyone's birthright. Right now they're the gatekeepers saying who can and can't be part of the tribe. You know what I'm saying? So they lose their gatekeeper position of allowing people in and being able to control everything. So what they do is just don't say nothing. So now you black, you Spanish, cool, keep thinking you're whatever. But as soon as you learn something, you start saying something, they say, oh, come to this meeting. Because now they're trying to recruit you. Instead of just exposing the game. You know what I'm saying? So I just expose the game. Now it's up to the people to play or not. Either way, they're playing. But now they have to actually make a solidified, I'm on this side. Because there's only two sides to be on. Either you're active or you're inactive, meaning you're dirty. You know what I'm saying? And then if you don't choose a side, that's choosing a side of being dirty. Because you can't just watch the battle go down and then go with the winner. Like, nah. That's what Jay Deuce said. Jay Deuce is a local artist. He said they was playing both sides and thought I wouldn't notice. Like, you can't just sit back, let all the fighting happen, and then after the dust settles, now you want to show up. Why you clean and we're all dusty? Like, get out of here. So yeah, choose a side. But do it intelligently. Know what side you're choosing and why. Right. So that's Moorish Dominions.
The
Yeah, in the
I
back,
forgot to do that.
you show in the back. The back is the prophet. It says above the prophet, the Moorish American prophet and nobleman Al-Haj Sharif Abdul Ali, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Drew Ali, a Moorish American national of Cherokee descent. In order to change a people, you must change their literature, which is what he said. And that's what he looks like. So again, he looks like just
number 1.
let's say you and me.
And number 2. On
2 books.
rightsofthemoors.org. Number 3 is on the way.
Ah, why did you say that? Number 3 is done, but you gotta wait because it costs a lot of money to print these books. So I gotta sell this book so I can get enough money to print the third book.
So buy the book.
Yeah, buy the books.
Please.
I forgot what I was about to say. Oh yeah. Anyone claiming to be smart or whatever it is that they're claiming that you should listen to them, ask them how many books they've written. Because in order to be a doctor, you have to have wrote a book.
Damn. Fighting words.
Right, in order to graduate college, you have to write a book, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to write a dissertation, you have to write something. Right. So any of these people trying to inform the Moors, ask them how many books that they've written. Because it's hard, it's not hard, it's difficult to put what's in your mind in order and make it make sense to someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So if these people are claiming that they're educated, ask them where their books are. Because that tells you that if they can't write a book, they lack patience. So how are they going to teach you if they lack patience?
How are they going to lead you?
Yeah, because if they're explaining something to you and you don't get it, they're just going to get all frustrated. So you don't want them being your teacher. Have them write books. Because if you write a book, that's clearly a display of patience. And you know how to organize your thoughts. Make it make sense. Blah, 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 blah. Also, editing is a B word. So anyone telling you anything, ask them where's their literature. So again, you can get these books on risingthemoors.org.
Pick up that book phone.
Challenge it. Oh yeah.
Right there.
Challenge anything that I say, because I literally source everything. So you ain't really challenging me, you're challenging a bunch of people. No, a bunch of people. Because I source so many different books in this book, just like I do in this book. Mm-hmm. But there's so many Europeans that admit that we're not Indians in this book. Well, from their book that I put in this book, it's crazy. And then in my third book, just stare aside.
Like, you can't even talk about it.
Supreme Court saying it. So any so-called Indians challenging me, don't challenge me. I'm not saying it. Well, I am saying it, but I'm just using what the Congress says, what the Supreme Court says to knock your argument down. So again, challenge everything in this book, because then you'll learn. Because you'll be trying to decode this and be like, you can't. I did research. Right. So again, support. If you want my third book, support these 2 books so I get enough notes to get to print the third book, because it's already typed.
And you want that third one.
Yeah. I think really.
Fire.
But yeah, that's all I got. Any questions?
Does anybody have any questions? A lot of people were asking where to get the book.
Oh, you can get the book risingthemoors.org.
Yep.
Under products.
The website is in the description.
Mm-hmm. Want me to go into what happened today?
No.
Right.
When that manifests, then we'll make an announcement.
Drop the heat.
All right.
Peace.